The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Two teams in the 912 Sports coverage area matched up last Friday night in the Class A Division II state playoffs as McIntosh County Academy and Clinch County collided in Darien. It was a meeting between two teams in the top 10 in the rankings as Clinch came into the night 6th in the state and McIntosh was 7th. And when all was said and done on a cold Friday night in mid-November, it was the Panthers pulling out a 17-16 victory over the Buccaneers in one heck of a hard-fought contest. The Panthers erased a 16-7 deficit late in the fourth quarter to emerge as the winners, kicking a field goal and then scoring a touchdown on their last two possessions to snatch victory away from the hometown Buccaneers. The touchdown came on a 15-yard pass completion to Jeremy Bell, who went high into the air to catch the ball over the defense just outside the goal line and then turned and scored. The Panthers still had to make the extra point kick, which they did with just over 20 seconds remaining on the game clock. The Bucs saw their season end with the comeback by Clinch, but another great year from McIntosh included a region championship this fall. The Panthers will now go to Wrightsville Friday night for their quarterfinal game against Johnson County with a berth in the state Class A semifinals on the line. For On Air with 912 Sports, I'm Kevin Price reporting.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Hello, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Sean. Great to be with you. Happy Thanksgiving in case we get wrapped up in all this football talk and forget about that. But, of course, I'm looking forward to tomorrow for the Thanksgiving feast and the football feast that goes along with this whole Thanksgiving holiday.
Exactly. I'm looking to add another 10 pounds like I need it. So, but hey, that's what you're supposed to do at this time of the year. So
that's right.
But Kevin, we started last weekend with, I believe it was, we started the playoffs with 18 teams in the playoffs. Started last weekend with 10 teams still playing. And going into this Friday night, we're going to have 6 teams playing. A couple of teams in the smaller classifications that bowed out. We had Charlton County fell to Dooley County at home in an overtime game, wound up losing that game 14-13. I know Russ Murray and those guys have got to be kicking themselves to where they couldn't find another field goal or something in that game to continue on playing. But another great season there in Charlton. But they're taking up costumes, looking ready to get ready to get on the hardwood. And, oh, by the way, they're going to be pretty good playing a little round ball here, probably starting, next week. So, and then also we had Liberty County go on the road and lost to Thomasville, and a really close game, Kevin, a 6-13 game. I think if you'd have told Coach Glazer, hey, listen, we're going to put you in a 7-point game going into the fourth quarter, will you take that? I think he would have jumped all over that, just come up a little bit short and couldn't get it done. But congratulations to the Panthers on a fantastic season. Been a really tough season over there, but for those guys to get in the playoffs, get a playoff win, make it to the second round, a great job for those guys.
Yeah, no question. A lot of positivity to build on out of this Liberty County season going forward. I knew they had some offensive firepower. We've talked about that a lot when we have talked about Liberty County, but they were up against a really good defensive team the other night, as you could tell by that score. Thomasville, that trademark of theirs has been their defense. They've won a lot of football games in recent years playing good defensive football, and obviously they did it again Friday night against Liberty. But nothing to be ashamed of. Liberty goes on the road, battles that team nip and tuck. And like I say, it might have been gravy that they made the postseason. I think it was certainly gravy after they won a playoff game, particularly with all they've been through after losing a longtime coach Kurt Warner there in the offseason, and to rally the troops and do everything they did just to make it this far is a testament to them, and look forward to seeing where they go in the future.
Right. And one other team that lost in the 912 area code, but with Kevin, it was kind of a unique situation. It was in a game that we knew that if they lost, we still had a winner because we had two teams playing, and that was the Clinch MCA game. MCA goes down to Clinch County. Clinch County wins and moves on. So we're going to talk about that right now. Kevin, you were at that game, so I know you got a good view of what happened in a game that was nip and tuck. I think it was a 1-point game. Wasn't the final score 17-16 or something like that?
Yeah, 17-16, and of course I'll have a recap on that game, so I won't go too much into it here. But obviously it was a nip and tuck game the whole way. It was 7-0 at halftime, clinching the lead. McIntosh came out, turned the game around on a interception return for a touchdown by Jerice Campbell, one of their two-way players, and went for 2. And scored and made it 8-6, and really took over the momentum in that ball game until late in the contest with that 16-7 lead. The Clinch scores, 10 points, I guess it was, there in about the final 5 minutes, certainly on their last couple of possessions. Kicked a field goal to make it a 1-score game. Stopped McIntosh on their next drive, kept them from getting a first down on a 3rd and short situation. Got the ball back and ran that 2-minute offense of theirs like a champ, and they were right where they've been several times this year, as you know, and pulled that game out 17-16. Had to make the extra point, of course, there with about 23 seconds to go to take the lead again, and here they are headed to the quarterfinals once again.
Yeah, and for their for their efforts, Kevin, to get to go on the road and play a 12-0 Johnson County team. For you guys that are big Georgia fans, Johnson County is where Herschel Walker came from. They've got things rolling this year, 12-0. I look back at some of their scores. Really, the only thing that kind of jumped out at me looking back at Johnson County had to go into overtime to beat ECI, Kevin. MCA played ECI and handled their business, beat them pretty good, pretty solid, and Clinch was able to get MCA. I mean, I know that doesn't mean anything, but if you want to draw some parallels, that's really the only thing I saw about Clinch going on the road to play this Johnson County team.
Well, I will say that the home field advantage makes a big difference. I mean, you always want to play at home when you can. And, of course, Clinch will have to make this trip up there to just short of Athens there, where Herschel Walker made his name in Wrightsville before he went on to star for the Georgia Bulldogs. And, we talked about it a little bit the other night on the on the scoreboard show we did after all the games. But I think mission number one for Clinch County will be to slow down the Johnson County running game. They have a kid named Jermaine Tucker, who going into their game the other night had already rushed for right at 2,400 yards on the season. And, oh, by the way, you mentioned Herschel Walker. Well, he had already surpassed his career rushing record there at Johnson County with over 6,300 yards, actually more, almost 6,400 yards in his career. Now, I don't know that he's the big bruising back that Herschel Walker was. In fact, he's not, but he obviously can run that football. And I tell you what, I saw Clinch on the hoof the other night, like you mentioned, and they got a real good defensive line. They look good, just in the uniform before the whistle even blows. But hopefully they can slow down Johnson County between the tackles. That's what they did to McIntosh the other night. Also didn't let McIntosh get wide on them in the first half. McIntosh only had, I think, 20 yards of offense at halftime. And, of course, Clinch led that game 7-0. But also that Clinch County quarterback is real smooth. They obviously have a big receiver in Jeremy Bell. He caught the winning touchdown pass. They can throw the deep ball, so maybe they can hit a couple of home runs on this Johnson County team as well. But other than going on the road, I think Clinch has got a really good chance, and they're never out of it, Sean, if they're within striking distance at any point in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, and you said it, Kevin. They're no strangers with their backs up against the wall in the fourth quarter. Been pulling game out of rabbit out of the hat game after game. So maybe they'll be able to do that, or maybe they'll be out enough they won't even have to go to the old rabbit out of the hat there on Friday night.
That would be nice. I'm sure Coach Tyson would love that. Yeah.
Yeah. that the best hair in the 912 might be turning gray if they keep playing these games that are coming down to the line. So, but hey, let's move on, Kevin, to AA now. We've got two solid teams in AA, two teams that we think that can make it to the Final Four, possibly back to the state championship for both of these teams. You got Appleton County coming into the contest, big winners over the Northeast, who really kind of talk trash all week long leading up to that game, but Appleton gets it done, winning that game 35-13. They got to go on the road because they lost a coin flip. They're number one, playing a number one, lost a coin flip, got to go on the road to play Callaway. Callaway comes into this game 9-3 on the season. They beat some good teams, but they have, I guess the thing that jumps out at me for Callaway, Kevin, they started off 0-3. They lost to Opelika, Alabama, lost to Cedartown, who is a very, very good football team, and then also Troup County. But after that, son, it's been chalk. They've been putting the W's in the column there. So this could be a good one Friday night as Appleton goes on the road.
Yeah, Sean, and kind of the quarterfinal round in general, I think this is where we start to separate the men from the boys, so to speak, and it just only typically should get even tougher from here. There are a lot of tough games in this quarterfinal round, and the cream is certainly going to start rising to the top. And talk about that Clinch team. Obviously, they're no strangers to the quarterfinals or beyond. I think you're going to see that a lot of times here as we go through these games, just involving the teams in our area that we're going to talk about. But it goes through and through all classifications. A lot of the really good teams in the state typically do this year after year, and I think you can study the brackets and see that. But speaking of that, Callaway's making their seventh straight appearance, I believe, or fourth straight appearance in this round, I believe it is. Like you said, they've won 7 in a row. Last year, I think they made it to the semifinals maybe after winning the state championship in 2020. Got a 20-13 win, last week, I guess, over Fannin County. And this is Appling County's third trip in a row to the quarterfinals. So obviously they made it to the semifinals last year. But, two really good football teams going at it here. I'm hoping the Appling defense, will maybe make the difference in the end. But they've really cranked up their offense, Sean, the last couple of weeks as well. So both of these teams really good on both sides of the football. Really, the only thing that worries me in this one, as far as Appling goes, is just going on the road.
Yeah. Got to travel over to Callaway. So we'll see how it turns out. But Appling is definitely capable of going over there and getting that win. That brings us to our other AA team, Pierce County. Pierce County rolled over Berrien this past Friday night, 52-0. Just a fantastic job on the offense. I think that game, Kevin, was 49-0 at halftime. It could have been 100-0 if they'd have wanted to. I know that Coach called off the dogs, had guys stepping out of bounds, inside the 5-yard line, not to score. So some good sportsmanship there. So Pierce really got everything rolling in the right direction. They've got to go on the road, not because they lost the coin flip, because they're playing a number 1 seed. They're a number 2 seed. Got to play Fellowship Christian. Fellowship Christian comes in this game 9-3 on the season. Played some really good teams, and one that jumps out at me is Rabun County was able to beat them earlier in the season. They won their playoff game over Elka this past Friday night, 26-15. So a really talented team there. Pierce going to have their hands full, and that's a long 4-hour bus on the old cheese wagon to go to Atlanta to play this game.
Yeah, now Fellowship Christian, beat Eagles Landing Christian, another perennial power, ranked 8th in the state in that game last week. Now this is the 5th year in a row, I believe, that Fellowship Christian has been to the quarterfinals or beyond. Last year they went to the semifinals, but that was in single A private. And by the way, their coach is a really good coach as well, Tim McFarland. He's been in coaching, I guess, all in the state of Georgia for over 4 decades, but he's been a head coach for 22 years, over 200 wins. I think his actual record is 215, 59-2. And, of course, if you recognize that name, obviously you follow Georgia high school football, you probably do. But he coached at Roswell previously, won a state championship with them in 2006, I believe. Also coached at Blessed Trinity, won 3 state championships with them. So 4 state titles to his name. But obviously the job for, Pierce County is to play good defense again. That was their first shutout of the season the other night against Berrien, won that game going away. And, of course, they have DJ Bell who comes up big in these big game situations for them with another big night the other night. What was it? I know it was over 200. Was it over 250?
I think it was right there, 240, 235, something like that.
Yeah, so, obviously Pierce is built for this time of year. They're against another program that obviously is deep, used to playing deep into the playoffs. Again, though, the only thing that kind of concerns me is Pierce going on the road. They're going to have to do it a little opposite than they've done it in the past, because I think they would be on the road, next week as well, because they lost that Appling game and settled for the runner-up spot. But again, we've talked about Appling and Pierce kind of, obviously giving us a real good chance in Class AA to win a state championship. And I would fully expect after Friday night, we'll see both of these teams in the Final Four.
Exactly. Well, we're going to take a break, pay some bills here, and see a few commercials. But we'll be right back here with the second half of the preview of the games coming up on 11:25. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome back, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, joined by Kevin Price, and we're going to jump right back in to the previews of the games going on 11/25/22. But before we get started, we had two other teams that bowed out of the upper classifications, Kevin, this past Friday night. Well, actually, one in the upper classification, one in GIA. But the first one, Camden. Camden went to Grayson, fell 28-10 to Grayson there. A tough night. Jeff Herron going back to a school where he'd won a state title, playing one of his former coaches. I think, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, was a close game at halftime, 14-10 Grayson, but the Wildcats just couldn't get it done in the second half.
Yeah, Grayson jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Camden tied it up 7-7. Actually, then I think Camden was driving. They lost the football, a fumble. Grayson had a scoop and score, I guess it was, and returned that fumble 80 yards for a touchdown to make it 14-7. And Camden did add a field goal before the first half was over to make that halftime score 14-10. But obviously, the final score was 28-10. Grayson shut down the Camden offense in the second half, kept them off the scoreboard anyway, and went on to win that game by double digits. But, at the end of the day, though, Camden wins a playoff game. They get back into the upper echelon of that ultra-tough Region 1, finished second with wins at the end of the season there against Valdosta and Lowndes back-to-back in Kingsland at Chris Gilman Stadium. And obviously got off to a slow start, losing their first couple of ball games, got surprised by Columbia, lost a tough one to Brunswick High School in the second week of the season. Brunswick, obviously, no slouch as well, a region champion, a team that went to the playoffs as a number 1 seed. And then they pretty much rolled from there, other than losing to a really good Colquitt team, which may now be the favorite for the state championship in 7A now that Buford's gone. But at the end of the day, a big positive swing for Camden this year, and just looking forward to what they do now as they try to take the next step in year number 3 of Coach Jeff Herron's second stint there. Got a lot of talent coming back, a lot of real good young talent on that team this year. And going to be interesting to see what they do going forward. That East Coweta game when they won in the opening round of the playoffs, Sean, that was old school Camden playing really good defense and just playing powerful football offensively out of that wing tee. And I would like to see a lot more games like that going forward from the Wildcats.
Yeah, definitely things going in the right direction there, and Camden look for big things out of them, next year for sure. Moving on to GIA, Frederica went down to Deerfield Windsor, lost that game 18-14, and this is one that Brandon Derrick's got to be kicking himself for, Kevin. They were in control of this game most of it. I think they took the lead into the fourth quarter and come up just a little bit short. Like I said, I think they scored all their points in the first half of this game, and for whatever reason, just couldn't get the ball in the end zone there in the second half. And like I said, just come up 4 points short from moving on. And so their season's done over there on the island.
Yeah, tough loss there. Of course, as the 6th seed, they had to go on the road to face the 3rd seed, in their classification. Again, don't want to get too much into it, but Frederica won a region championship and still had to go on the road. And that's something maybe that they need to fix with this ranking system if they don't totally do away with it. Somehow give some teams some bonus points or make sure they're at home as a region champion. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about that in the offseason about how they set this playoff format in the private school league here. And obviously Brandon Derrick could be right there in the middle of it as an example of a region championship region champion going on the road and losing in their first round. But, Frederica might have built off a little more than they can handle schedule-wise with the team they had. But at the end of the day, it made them who they were. It made them a lot more tough on both sides of the ball, made them physical on both sides of the ball. And when they got down to region play, their record was probably misleading because of that tough schedule, which included some GHSA teams. But they got the job done in the region and won that region championship. So that alone makes it a great season for Frederica.
Yeah, so congratulations to the Knights over there on St. Simon's Island.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
Moving on, Kevin, we'll jump right into 4A. We've got a team, Wayne County. Listen, Wayne County, I owe you an apology. I said on a couple other shows, I thought y'all had a great season, but I thought it was going to end in Perry Friday night. You made a liar out of me, so congratulations. You played your tails off. You got to win at probably one of the toughest places in the state and probably beat one of the better teams in 4A this past Friday night, beating Perry 14-7. Kevin, they done it the same way you said they had to do it, keep it low scoring, win it by running the football, win it with your defense, and that's exactly what Jay Beauchamp and his Wayne County Yellow Jackets did. I'm not picking against them anymore. I know they got a tough out this Friday night as they got to go on the road and play North Oconee, a school that's 12-0. A team, Kevin, I do not believe is giving up over 13 points all year long. But hey, Wayne likes to play those games. Wayne won last week 14-7. So they like to be right in there. So if they can score 13 against North Oconee, hold North Oconee to 7, they're going to get a victory there in round 3. But a good matchup as Wayne goes on the road to North Oconee.
Well, Wayne made a fool out of a lot of people, Sean, because if people filled out brackets like you do in March Madness, and I know, we did just for fun, I don't think anybody had Wayne County beating Perry other than maybe some of the folks in Jessup. And I'm not even sure the hometown homer of them all, Bob Morgan, had Perry losing this ball game. But, I say that jokingly. Bob will tell you like it is, sometimes. But, that you're right, Sean. That game went according to script. I mean, they had to play good defense against an explosive Perry offense. Obviously, they did that, winning that game 7-0. Gave that ball to the Fuller kid, and rode him as a workhorse back like they have all year. And Sean, now they're up against another tough one, but they can go to that game last week and just say, hey, we got it done in a similar situation last week. Let's go take this same script, massage it a little bit to fit North Oconee, and let's go try to win it the same way. Now, the thing about this game, North Oconee, they're actually a little bit of history here. Their first coach of all time was Daryl Jones, who was once a coach at Wayne County. He coached them back in, when they first started the North Oconee opened up there in Oconee County along with Oconee County. Then following him was Terry Tooley from 2006 to 2016. Tooley was at Glenn Academy. Daryl Jones had coached with him on Glenn Academy staff. But this is actually their first time hosting the quarterfinal game. I know for years when Buford was in their same classification, they would always run into Buford early in the state playoffs. And, of course, you know what that meant. It meant the same thing for North Oconee that it meant for a lot of teams, even though they had a good program. But so that's going to be big for North Oconee. But they got a kid, Khalil Barnes, Sean, who's a 3-star wide receiver, but he also plays defense, returned an interception in their week 1 playoff win, I think, for 55 yards. In a score. But last year, they lost at Bainbridge in the quarterfinal round, and I believe the year before, they lost to Benedictine in the semifinals. But this is a team, like you said, Sean, that Wayne County could probably go in there with that spread offense and be high scoring, and it's probably going to get slowed down in this game. But obviously, they're doing it different now. But they score over 45 points a game and give up less than a touchdown a game. I think 5.5 points. They won their first game 16-13 over Oconee. Won their second game of the season 7-6 over South Forsyth. But the rest of the regular season, they scored 42 or more, and they had 4 shutouts. So points are going to be precious against them. Once again, Wayne County is going to have to ride that defense and try to win it in a defensive-oriented fashion Friday night.
Exactly. They did it in Perry. They can do it in North Oconee. So go get them, Jackets. And that'll bring us into 5A. We'll start off with Calhoun's got to come back to Ware County. Ware County coming off a big win this past Friday night, 24-7 over Chamblee. Didn't really go as scored in the script, but hey, Gators got a win nonetheless. Kevin, I did some math here. Calhoun's 9-3 on the season. They've got a win over Cartersville, which is probably the big win for them this season. But the Ware County defense is giving up 7.5 points a game, and Calhoun's averaging 32 points a game on offense. So, again, you've got something that's got to give here. We'll see what happens there Friday night as Calhoun comes to the Swamp. And, there's a little bit of revenge factor here for the Gators. Calhoun put Ware County out in the same building last year in the second round of the state playoffs. This is the third round. But so Calhoun's got to make that ride back down here to Waycross. Long bus ride. Ware's got a little bit of revenge factor on their mind. So we'll see what happens in the Swamp Friday night.
Well, when you talk about teams that are used to going this far, you can put Calhoun right up there with some of the best programs in the state, Sean. This is going to be their 16th Elite Eight appearance in 17 seasons. So obviously they know how to get it done. They're used to playing this time of year. Of course, they do have to come to the Swamp, face that tough Ware County defense. Once again, you talked about revenge. Ware County can try to play that down, but that's going to be the biggest motivating factor, I think, for the kids that are going to see the football field for the Gators. Revenge is a big thing for high school kids, and that's probably going to play, hopefully, in the Ware County's favor. They can't let it get the best of them. They got to keep the emotions in check. But I do like Ware County because of this defense. Once again, defense does win championships, and I think if Ware County is going to win a state championship, it's going to be largely because their defense is going to carry it away. Now, Calhoun comes in with a balanced offensive attack. They got a quarterback that's thrown for over 1,000 yards, and they've actually are close to 2,000 yards, and they actually got a running back that was closing in on 1,000 yards going into their last game. So I'm sure he got over the 1,000-yard mark. I didn't see any official numbers on him. But obviously, two really good teams going at it. Somebody's going to lose and go home. But I think this time, and I got my fingers crossed as well, but I think this time it's going to be Calhoun making that trip back up to North Georgia, saddled with the loss, and their season will end.
Well, we'll see. We've got 1 versus 1 in this game, and then we've got 2 versus 2, Kevin, in the next game we're going to talk about, and that's Coffee County. Got to go on the road to play Cartersville. Cartersville lost to Calhoun earlier in the season and going into overtime, and, of course, Ware was able to beat Coffee pretty soundly, and that put Coffee in the 2 seed. So now you've got 2 versus 2. Coffee got to make that long ride. There's no easy way to get to Cartersville, Georgia, man. I mean, it's a haul up there to where this school is. So Coffee's going to have to make a long road trip. I think Cartersville's 11-1. Their only loss on the season is to Calhoun. Coffee comes into this contest 10-2 on the season, losing only to Bainbridge and Ware. So this is going to be definitely a dogfight. There's a little bit of history here. Coffee got put out by Cartersville a couple of years ago on a play where Coffee had a chance to win the game, threw the ball in the end zone. Might have been interference, might have not. Ball fell incomplete. Cartersville wins the game, and Coffee season comes to an end. But again, this is going to be a really good matchup there on Friday night.
Yeah, you're right about it. Region against region, 2 teams out of the same regions, and both of these teams are in the 2-hole because they ended up losing to the region champion with Calhoun, of course, beating Cartersville 50-48 in an overtime game, and then of course Ware County beating Coffee there at the end of the year as well. But this Cartersville team, Sean, another playoff tested team. They've got 27 seniors on this club, so they're real experienced. You mentioned the fact that they lost in the state championship game a couple of years ago after beating Coffee in that semifinal. Last year, they unfortunately lost in the second round to Warner Robins. That's who beat them in the 2020 championship, right, as you know. But this Coffee team, now Coach Coe's done something in his first year that no other coach in Coffee history has done. He's won 10 ball games. It's the 8th 10-win season in Coffee County history. And, of course, he gets it done in his first one. But Antoine McDuffie had a big game the other night running the football as well. I think he had close to 200 yards. He scored 3 touchdowns, 1 on a 50-yard run. Their other primary ball carrier, I think, Fred Brown, also scored 3 touchdowns. One of his was on a 46-yard run. We know that Ware County or Coffee is going to get downhill on you, try to play physical and run that football. They've also got to play good defense once again. They did that last week against a team that can throw the football. They kept that team down on the scoreboard. They only led that game 14-7, Sean, at halftime. Got a talking to from Coach Coe and his coaches and went out and dominated the third quarter. If they can play a complete ball game here like they did in that second half the other night, they're going to have a real good chance to go on the road and beat Cartersville in what should be a well of a football game as well.
Yeah, Coffee hung 51 on Decatur in that game last week, so they're definitely capable of scoring. But Kevin, going to be great football all over Georgia. Unfortunately, here in our area, I think Ware's the only game in town. I think everybody from around here has got to go on the road. So if you're looking for a football game close to your house, come on over to Ware County. Plenty of seats there in Memorial Stadium. Going to be a good one as Calhoun takes them on. But hey, listen, get out and cheer on your favorite team, and we'll be right back here next week to talk about it all. But hey, check us out Friday night. We'll be on the air about 11 o'clock Friday night on Facebook Live. We'll talk about all the playoff games. Not only here in the 912, we'll go in the in-depth with the 912 games, but we'll have all the scores from around the state and update you on who's going to be playing who next. But appreciate everybody watching. Stick around. We've got more On Air with 912 Sports coming up right after these messages.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.